Sometimes you can add too much to a film, and if everyone's too aware of you and your sound design, then you're probably not in the right place. Usually the film will speak to us as to what it wants, and I really believe in first impressions. You watch a film down for the first time and you just have to trust that what you're thinking this thing needs is right. And often in those first conversations when you're talking to a director and feeding off their passion and feeding off their, the immediacy, because they've been shooting and they're on a sort of a train ride of their film sort of thing, and you jump on board. I think during that discussion, sometimes you come up with some of the best ideas because you're just shooting, firing ideas, and I love that phase of, sort of just trying to tap into what it is. Because, and often, you can read the script and feel the tone of a project or feel a tone of what's going to go on just from the script. Well, hopefully you do, And so I like to read the script and then we have that meeting. If you're telling a story in sound, you have to, I think, first ground yourself in where you are and, trying to set a tone for the environment. For, are you in a desert? Are you in a jungle? Are you, in a great hall? Or are you in a creaky house? Getting that ambience just dialed in so that then the storytelling can happen in this place that you believe. And I think that's a really big one. A good example of that is probably something like The Power of the Dog. There was this house in the middle of Montana, in the middle of nowhere. And this house, when I first talked with Jane Campion about it, it's like a character in itself. It has its creaks, it has the air that flows through it. It feels like, it's the dust could come alive. It's sort of like it's got some stories. You have to ground yourself in the space where the film is shot, so you really have to sink yourself into that world. And then how do the characters in the film change that space? How do we react to their emotions, what they do? And you're really tapping into the emotions of the film. Like the lead character, when he walks into the house and his spurs are jangling up the hallway and the creaks up the stairs. It's about trying to then place him into that space, the character into that space. So the Foley, the ambience, all that sort of thing, they're so important. I had just an awesome time on that film. It was a really interesting playground. Usually it's, no spaceships and that sort of thing. It's all realism and it's all gritty and nothing can be out of place. It all has to be correct. And I love that, how precise things were, and, the leather rope, when you're moving it, we had some hide and I was plaiting a rope myself and, making all those stretching sounds. It was really fun. It was really fun to do that. The sonic identity of a film has to serve that and serve the genre. Is it a sci-fi? Is it a horror film? Does the director want there to be whooshes and ooey sort of things? Does the director like synthesizers or not like them? You've got to take all those things into consideration. But, as a rule, you're trying to find a really organic skin to wrap around this image. Sometimes you can add too much to a film and you just create a whole lot of work for yourself, having to sort of weed out things. Just you're serving the film and you're serving the story and you're trying to bring that to life and not crowd it. And if everyone's too aware of you and your sound design, then you're probably not in the right place. And I really do think, again, you can often hear that sonic identity when you read the script, which comes back to that thought of intuition and what your first impressions. It comes back to that. It's an intuitive thing, but then you have to hone it into the director's imaginings as well. My creative process has always been about I really like to feel the film. I really want to feel the rhythm in the pictures. I've always been big on trying to find a rhythm to how the edit works. trying to find whether I'm working on a small section, I'll play it over and over, and trying to find a rhythm and how those footsteps tie into that door opening to the bird in the background, and you don't want to overcrowd the space. Myself, I prefer a reasonably zen sort of a thing, but a lot of directors, some directors want a sandpit where they have all the toys in and they get to choose what they have. And some people want something more refined where, you're turning up with something that's kind of formed and you've got a concept that you're running with. I kind of prefer the concept idea sort of thing, but my process is to be flexible on that, to be honest, because you are serving someone who has thought about this a lot. And, I think at one stage when I first started, people would play me the guide track and I'd react to it and sort of think, we'll play temp music and that sort of thing. And I'd always shy away from that. But I've learned over time that, the director and the editor have sat in that edit room and they've found rhythms, they've found timing, they've found a voice in their guide track, and you need to really listen to that. Over time, you realise how important that is and how much you need to tie into that. And also technology is moving constantly, and you're constantly, trying to keep up with, or not keep up with, but sort of bend like the reed in the river with it. Dolby Atmos turned up and all of a sudden there's more speakers and you're laying up extra elements for that. New microphones come along and you have extended frequency range microphones where you can record animals at a higher sample rate and then you can slow them down and they sound better. So, it's sort of like at the core of the whole thing is still where you started off with just great sounds. You need to start with a great source, really trying to understand what the film needs. That voice comes from those beautiful sounds. The elephant in the room is AI at the moment, and it is what it is, and it's here, and I'm sure that there are tools, for noise reduction that are doing incredible things. I think that I'm very interested in, if I come back with some recordings that have some noise in it, how far that's going to go, how good it's going to get, removing reverb, that sort of thing. There are some great tools developing, already happening now. Creature development, it'd be interesting to see where that heads. If I take essence of lion and essence of seagull and I want to make a creature that has those but doesn't feel artifacty or, too synthesized, can I take that and have AI help me come up with the versions there? I'm not sure. Morphing is a funny thing. Like, I haven't really been too happy with anything that does morphing. You've got to really work, and there's a whole lot of things you do with pitching and with amplitude and that sort of thing. You have to work the sounds to try and arrive at something that sort of feels like a morph. No concerns. I mean, there's a new generation of sound designers out there who are killing it, who are just incredible, and there are so many new shows and films that pop out of nowhere on streaming services and that sort of thing. Where the heck did this film come from? And they're incredible, and there's a lot of names I don't know, and some new sounds I haven't heard. There's these new voices coming through. It's very exciting. But yeah, I'm excited for the future. And it's funny, this thing of getting old, because art, it's not a job. It's just life. So sound design has been a really cool vehicle for me for that. Just I couldn't think of being anything but an artist. But it's just the future is bright.